Hello.
Hello.
Elsie.
Hello.
What's your last name?
Mckellar.
Mckellar. Cool. I'm Emeka. Thank you for coming to my show.
Oh my goodness, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This is called Emeka Conversations, and I think you are my 6th guest.
Wow.
Or 5th. I don't really know. I stopped counting.
This is awesome. We're right at the beginning.
Right. It's like when I turned 30, I stopped counting. Mostly because I couldn't remember anymore.
Do you know that started happening to me?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
You must be 30 plus.
I am.
I literally can't remember.
Is that one of those things I can disclose and undisclose?
I can disclose it. Jesus started his ministry at 30
It's
and
true.
finished at 33.
And he did a whole lot in those 3 years.
A whole lot. And I think I'm starting mine at 33.
Brilliant.
So
It's a good age.
although unlike him, I am married and have kids, so that's a thing. But anyway,
That is a thing.
thanks for coming. This
pleasure.
should be a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm keen. I'm looking forward to it.
Why did you say yes?
Why'd I say yes?
Yeah.
Well, I'm so aware that conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
Uncensored, because part of what's happening is this really big control of the public conversation. Like public discourse is the word I'm looking for. Like people are not allowed to use certain words, talk about certain things, or deviate from the main, mainstream message.
Main narratives.
Yeah.
I made a sentence before and it was pretty long-winded. It's probably going to come out the exact same way again, but there are a bunch of faceless, pathological psychopaths that are controlling the narrative that society is being embedded into, and someone has to stop them. They're faceless, and they know who I'm talking about. This sounds really conspiracy theory, but I've become painfully aware of it in the last little while. I don't know who they are and what they do, but I'm about to annoy the crap out of them.
Good. I hope
they're
so.
going to love it.
That's it. That's what we're here to do.
Either way.
We're here to annoy the psychopaths.
Yeah.
Disrupt them. No, but you've got a point. Like there's a sort of psychopathic nature to what is happening.
It's very psychopathic. And they do so through manipulation, because I was saying before that they can't do it through competency, because they're not competent enough to do it, although they think they are, and that's why they achieve these wild games that they play with people's head. And I was preparing my speech for tomorrow, and something I thought about as I was thinking through it was like, do you know what actually is the real thing that will stop the insanity? It's unity. It's like the only thing that can stop it, because they don't have enough competence to truly do this.
It's unity with truth, though, isn't it?
With truth.
Unity with truth. Because if we could have unity.
Yeah, on the wrong thing.
On the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that's where what you're saying is like manipulation is the key strategy.
Yes.
In order to move these ideologies into the systems and to actually overtake a population with specific ideologies, and people are being manipulated by it. And so what's the antidote to that? Well, obviously it's truth.
Yeah.
And it's truth being communicated and truth being believed. And that's going to happen if we actually can open up the dialogue enough, which is why social media is so powerful.
Yes.
Because we do have these big media corporations, and of course we all know that they are just propaganda sites, especially if you look at like
propaganda.
The ABC, which is a taxpayer funded propaganda.
Yeah.
Like, those are not journalists. Those are activists.
We pay for them to lie to us.
Yes, those are activists for the wrong cause.
It's their
and
main
so
job.
we have to then, we actually have to realize, us ordinary people, we matter, and we have this incredible tool called social media, and at the moment it has enough freedom for us to be able to use it to communicate a counter argument, actually to communicate truth.
Yeah, and we absolutely have to, and I think that's what Emeka Conversations was birthed out of. It was, I kept seeing the narratives that were being spilled out that I'm like, that is so illogical, it's not funny. But so many people have become so convinced of absolute lies.
Yeah.
And they will die by it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that you've been put through.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to kind of the start.
Okay,
Who are
let's
you?
do it.
And how did you become an activist in the space specifically of pro-life?
Yeah, so I have always had a suspicion that abortions were a terrible thing.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me. But that wasn't the point where I actually decided that this was something I really need to do. Like, I actually need to now make moves on it. It was about maybe just over a year ago where I decided to start doing some level of activism. And I realized throughout that year, oh my goodness, it actually needs a full on effort. We need so many more people on this. Because I actually started looking at what was happening. I started to hear about abortion up to birth.
Okay.
And that started to shock me. I was like, okay, I knew that there was abortion. I knew there was little babies being killed by these terrible procedures. But I didn't know that, look, and all babies, all unborn, I believe are equal.
Yeah.
But there was something really rattling about the fact that our country, our state in South Australia, which is now all over the country, but it had actually got to a point where people were okay with a full-term baby being killed.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So I think the other day I was watching it was a kind of a quick video. One of the things that shocked me the most is how people, like, we've gone from like, oh yeah, maybe it's sort of not okay to even abort, to like, not only like it is okay, but it's okay even if they're born.
Yeah.
And people are like, and I said this before, it's like, I want the right to murder people.
Well, I mean, and this sounds like crazy, right? Like, you think, surely there's not. Let me tell you, I know there are. Because I speak to them on the street regularly. I mean, that's a big part of what I do now is actually speak to people on the street and have these conversations, film them, and with the intent to expose their point of view.
Yeah.
And I am deeply disturbed by the reality that I'm speaking to regular young women in particular, but it's also men. I'm speaking to regular citizens and they are defending abortion up to birth for any reason.
Yes.
And I'll be like, look, it's a baby. We will go through the facts. We'll speak about the realities. I will describe to them, you know, look, this is a little baby who's hiccuping, who's kicking around, who can hear its mother's voice, who responds to music. Yeah. I'll describe this whole, you know, try to rehumanize the baby because they have obviously dehumanized it. And their response is shocking. It is, I don't care. Yeah. They say it should be a woman's choice and a woman's priority. And it is devastating to me and super surreal to speak to these young people who are literally defending the murder of a child. And sometimes they will even use those words because they believe that a woman's should have the choice. The woman should have the priority. It's bizarre they've convinced themselves of that.
I think it's the propaganda that existed for so long, and they slowly but surely tipped society into this place where people can actively and consciously defend things that are so vile, and they feel like within themselves that it's not a problem. Because, and for a human to get to that place, that's why I call it psychopathic, right? Yeah. For a human being to get to that place where they innately can feel and even justify within themselves that belief is appropriate and right, a lot of stuff has to happen for that person mentally. Because I think the normal person, a normal human being, and that's right, I'm sure we're going to have people out there that are going to watch this and be like, what do you mean a normal person? I'm normal. No, you're not. If you can sit and feel that is appropriate, then there's something abnormal about the way you think, and we need to figure what that is. Well, I think it's the manipulation that has occurred. So I was watching this video, and I mentioned it before, right? So this guy was going around asking ladies to sign this. You might have seen it online. To sign this like thing to say, hey, you know, the I think in the kennel the veterinarians are killing dogs in the womb because
they're aborting
the babies because for whatever reason. And it's interesting to watch almost every person that he speaks to, and he goes, can you sign this to say we don't want this to happen because it's not good for cute little puppies to be killed in the womb. And they're like puppies have, like dogs have litters, right? They just have like 6 dogs at a time. At least, right? And it's like, so they can afford to be like, I only have 5 now, right? Okay, and the next one I'm going to have like 8 even, okay? But a lot of people are going, oh yeah, that's so sad. We don't want that. Dogs are cute as. And then you watch when he goes to the other paper and he says, and this one is effectively the exact same thing. It's just it's humans. And they go, I don't know.
Do you know what? Do you know what's happening
kill
there?
them.
Well, you know what? Even if they don't, so some people are at that hardcore end of the spectrum where they're totally for it and they're activists for it, and they understand what they're fighting for. And the rest of the people, they don't really know. But what they do know is that they can't be contrary to the mainstream because they fear outgrouping. There's a really awesome study, the PhD actually done by Dr. Debbie Garrett. Yeah. She's actually from Brisbane, I believe. So she's a nurse who did this study and this investigation into how the abortion narrative became so widespread, and it's very interesting. And look, the heart of it is mainly that it's divided into three categories. There's the adherents, the incognizants, and the dissidents. Dissents. Oh, I always stuff up that word.
But I don't like that word, by the way.
I know.
It's like the only English word that I struggle with.
I love that word. I love what it means. And then I go to say it and I'm like, dissidents. Anyway, look, the main point is that the adherents, they're obviously the activists who are like using every little strategy that they can find. They're going to push their narrative and try to get everyone else to believe
aggressively.
They do it via censorship. They do it by intentional misinformation. They do it by aggressive bullying strategy to get their message out, and they don't mind what the cost is. Yeah. The rest of the people, the 80%, the majority is the incognizants, and they just don't actually
care one way or the other.
They kind of haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
And they're going to be swayed.
Yeah.
And so the adherents capture the incognizants.
Yes.
And they do that because they put such fear. The other thing that the adherents do is discrediting.
Yes.
So they discredit the other professionals who speak against them. They outgroup them.
Yes.
But they also start discrediting and outgrouping members of the public or members of the community. And so what happens is the basic fear that is in all human beings, which is I don't want to be outgrouped. Yes. I need to be with a community. I need to be with my people.
I love that stuff.
Exactly.
Outgroup me all day.
And you know what? The problem is there's an 80%, there's incognizants, they want to be in the group. Yes. They don't want to be outgrouped. So they will go along. Even if they
don't care, they just don't want to be out.
They just don't want to be out. So they will just go along with what the adherents are telling them to think because of the fear of being discredited, because they witness it. They go, that person got discredited and outgrouped. I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the dissidents, they are trying to speak against the adherents, and they're taking a lot of crap for it.
Yes. So I have to say, again, thinking through yesterday what I wanted to talk about, I had this realization as well. I had many realizations yesterday. I was actually super sick. I was like just pacing in my dining room trying to think about this idea.
Don't you hate it when that happens just before you got to do something?
Yeah.
Your body's like,
what is with that?
No,
I don't even know where it came from. But I was thinking, right, the reason that what we are now doing, what you're doing, what guys like Dr. Joanne, guys like Pontus Politics and Sam Banford, what those guys are doing, and we all seem to have picked different unique areas that we want to focus on, because these are all of the areas that the lies have been written into, right? The new history, the new ideas have been written into that are fully just evil, psychopathic ideas across the board, whether it's the right to life of a baby or the right to treat your country first and care for the people that are within it and not sell off its natural resources. All of these things, the reason why what we are doing is so crucial right now and so important is because you are exactly right. There's like 70 to 80% of people, they are in the middle somewhere. They are the moderates. They can easily be swayed one way or the other. And who they're going to go with is the loudest, the most aggressive, the ones that come across as, if you don't follow me. And so when these people watch what is going on, they feel often they will respond by being silent and backing away, or they slowly but surely just kind of moved and edge closer to the group that is the loudest and seen the most.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we have to do what we do right now, and it's so important that none of us back down. And it's so important because what exists within us is what we said before, is truth. And where truth exists, it has to be united. And if we unite right now, which is part of the reason why I invite guys like you to talk to me, because if we do that and we do that well, these guys know that they cannot stop us. And they are banking on the fact that people like us will not unite. They're banking on the fact that the average normal human will not unite. But if we do it and we do it well, we will be loud enough to sway those moderates, those middle ground hanging folks over to what is actually truth, decency and normalcy of the sustainability of all humanity.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the pinnacle of everything it is that they're doing and trying to do across the board, doesn't matter how you see it. It's come down to the fact, like, if I watch something come out of Albo's mouth, I know he's a liar. There's literally nothing. If there's something that scrolls past my phone, I pause to watch it. Doesn't matter what it is. I know it's going to be a lie.
Yeah, no integrity. We've seen
none whatsoever. And if we can do this well enough, and if we can stay loud enough, and if we can stay consistent enough and do it in unity, there is no way we don't win. There is no way those moderates don't go, I was kind of just waiting for somebody who has some common sense to be loud enough so I can kind of move that way. But they won't immediately, and this is where consistency pays, because it will take a bit of time. It will, because these guys have done what they've done over a long period of time. They've done it slowly but surely. So we're not about to win this battle just by turning up and making a couple of noise in a couple of places.
Oh, no, absolutely
you know what
not.
I mean?
No, of course. And like, I think, in the pro-life space, what's happened is that people who are pro-life, who are very, very pro-life, have still been very afraid to speak out because of that level of discrediting that they will get. So there has been a deafening silence for so long.
Yeah.
And well, that of course compounds, because then people don't want to speak up if they know that no one else is speaking up. So what happens when you start getting a group of people, and this is why it's a movement, because you start getting a group of people who are speaking loud, speaking unrelentingly, and more gather, and then it becomes safe for the others, because there is now a community. There's now a bigger group, a bigger mass. So if they do get out-grouped from the broader community, they have this one. They have these people who are all vocal and sure of the truth and willing to speak it.
And they're growing.
And interestingly, Dr. Joanna Howe, who I work with, she started this quite loud pro-life movement just about 3 years ago, and it's grown massively already.
Yeah.
But when she started, she thought, you know what, all I'm going to have to do is just tell people the truth, right? Like, all I'm going to have to do is just, hey, guys, did you know that abortion is legal up to birth pretty much for any reason?
Yeah, and at that point,
everyone would just turn.
We'll just be, that's crazy. What do you mean?
Surely that's what happened. But that isn't what happened. It's actually been really hard. And see, we thought that as bills were introduced to try and walk back some of these crazy abortion laws just by a smidgen, not even that much, we thought surely they'll get through. They haven't. They haven't got through yet. 2 years in a row, we've been voted down on the most benign and mild variations to the law. So just recently, just a few weeks ago, we lost a bill that proposed an amendment to the bill that's already there to say, look, have your abortions as much as you want, but you can't have them on healthy babies past 23 weeks.
And that got shut down.
And not just for just for the reasons of mental or physical risk. So if it's mental or physical risk, we should be actually dealing with those in a different way.
Yes.
And
when they say mental risk, right, we're saying, okay, mummy doesn't feel okay in the head. Politically incorrect. I just said that, right? But who gives a damn? It's the fact. Mommy doesn't feel okay in the head. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly?
So you are. And you know what? People will try and discredit this and try and shun this away because they go, well, that sounds terrible. That doesn't seem to promote a pro-abortion cause. So we don't really want to word it that way. So they'll try and steer you out of that direction and say, well, it's not really like that, and people are going to kill themselves. What are you going to do? You're going to abandon them to that. It's like, well, no. If they've got mental health issues to that extent, they need to be treated with mental health care, not with an abortion, which actually compounds trauma. Yeah. It doesn't actually sort anything out. Now, I want to give you an example.
Yeah.
This is. I've had a conversation with a woman. Now, she's gone public with this because actually last year the ABC did an interview with her. She is a pro-abortion activist. Her name is Taylor Jane. She did an interview last year right in the middle of a debate that we had trying to say the live births bill, which was basically trying to save babies past 28 weeks.
Okay.
They put this they put this article out, this interview out, like pretty much, I think it was maybe the day before, to try and make the biggest impact to sway the politicians to vote against the bill we'd put out. By the way, we lost by 1 vote, so it was devastating. We possibly could have saved more babies. Yeah. So I've spoken to this woman. I've had a real conversation with her, and I can tell you it was so deeply disturbing. She had an abortion at 28 weeks. Her baby was healthy. She claimed mental health reasons. And when I spoke to her for nearly 2 hours, she barely spoke about her mental health. I asked her, why did you want the abortion? I didn't want to have a baby. I was a single mom.
Yeah.
I was homeless. Yeah. I had practical issues. I'm like, so you had practical issues?
Yeah.
Practical issues. I feel for you. I understand. Like, I'm a single mom myself. I have experienced hardships too. I really do genuinely feel for you. You needed help. You needed support. But an abortion wasn't that. And you shouldn't be allowed to get rid of a human life just because of a level of suffering, a level of hardship.
Yeah.
But when people try to come back at us and say, it's not happening for mental health reasons, yes, it absolutely is. Like, your own side is promoting this woman, Taylor Jane, as an activist, telling her story that this abortion saved her life because, you know, she didn't kill herself because she went on, you know.
It was a mental health reason.
And if
it isn't, by the way, if they're not doing it for mental health reason, what's the issue with just putting a bill to say you can't do it for mental health reason?
Right.
I mean,
why is it there?
A little bit of critical thinking, everybody.
Exactly. Let's use a little bit of critical thinking. Okay, you're claiming it's not happening. Then why did the law put it in place? Because if the laws allowed it, it's most definitely happening.
Because it's like as if like usually laws are made because something is happening that they need to shape for the functioning of society at large. But what we are seeing these days is that laws are now being made purposely for the dysfunctioning of society at large.
Well, that is very, very true.
You can see it everywhere.
And this is the thing, is that like it's such devastating news. Like what I've just told you about this woman who had an abortion on her healthy baby at 28 weeks is devastating. But every time we go to say, look, this is happening and it shouldn't be happening, they go, no, it's not. No, it's not. Well, it is happening.
That's actually the greatest form of gaslighting.
Well, it's profound gaslighting.
I call it light gassing.
Seriously.
Yeah, like gassing, y'all. Like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And they make you think you're crazy. You're like,
well,
no, it's not.
I mean, this is why I really wanted to have this conversation with this woman, because even though I knew what was happening, because I've talked to the health professionals, I've seen the data, I've heard I've heard stories, I've been in this conversation, I know it's happening, but I wanted to have a conversation face to face with a woman who had done it, because just to convince me on that personal level, this is really happening. And I was so disturbed because her reason why she wanted an abortion was just because she wanted one. Yeah. She only found out she was pregnant at 24 weeks. She then went in to get an abortion, found out, thought maybe, oh, look, I'm pregnant, maybe I'm 6 weeks in. She then found out when she went to go get the abortion, it was actually 24 weeks in. She goes, well, am I still able to get the abortion? They go, yeah, that's no fun. No worries. Go to do her dating scan, figure out exactly how far along she is. And a couple of weeks later, she was able to go in and get this procedure. Now, this procedure is extremely, extremely dark. Do you want me to tell you about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's disclose all of the evil.
Let's do it. Let's bring it to the light.
There's lights everywhere, so let's pull it out.
Let's bring it out. And look, it is pretty dark. Look. So, as she told me her story, but this is the way they do it, is that she goes in to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and she...
Which one's that one? Where is that one?
In South Australia.
South Australia, okay.
Yeah. She gets put to sleep, or goes a bit sleepy, not fully asleep, and then there's a doctor, the abortionist, who does the ultrasound, who then uses a long needle with the ultrasound. They find baby's heart, and they inject into him potassium chloride. Potassium chloride is a lethal injection, and it gives a cardiac arrest to the baby. It's extremely painful. In America, they use this to execute their prisoners. We don't even use this drug to euthanize animals because it's deemed as unethical because it's so painful.
Inhumane.
It's so inhumane. So her baby died a very, very painful death. And
while still in the womb.
Yeah.
While still in the womb. Most safest place that a baby should have found themselves became.
It should be and yet it's become one of the most dangerous places. So she then goes home after this, and the next day she goes into a different hospital. She's induced to, she takes induction drugs to induce labour.
Yeah.
And she then labours for 30 hours, births her deceased child. Now, a funny thing is they say, oh, it's forced birth. You're forcing women to birth. Well, how else are you going to get the baby out? There's a baby there. You're not skipping out on birth.
Sorry,
all you're doing is birthing a deceased child instead of a live one. So in this process, different people will have different experiences. So for women who maybe have been told, though it's not true, been told it's best for you to abort your baby even if they're far along because the baby has a severe disability or is unwell, then the mother might choose to abort their child, but they still really wanted their baby, but they're thinking or they're trying to do the right thing for their baby by avoiding suffering for the child, so they end its life. They may want to see their child after, so they might name their child. They might give that child a funeral. So even though they are the ones who chose to lethally inject their baby, they're then going to do all of these humanizing things afterwards. So afterward, the woman that I'm speaking about, she decided not to name her child, not to give a funeral.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, they offer all of those things. Would you like to name your child? You have to give a birth and death certificate because it's of its age. So, interestingly, it's legally recognised as a person, but you were legally allowed to end its life.
And that's not murder.
No. And so then afterwards
they go... It's so incoherent.
It's so incoherent. And then, disturbingly, they say, well, what would you like to do? Would you like to have a burial? Interesting question. Even though you just murdered your child. Or would you like to send baby to medical waste? And she chose to send baby to medical waste because she had no concern for this child in the first place. Now, I'm not trying to demonize this woman. I actually feel very sorry for her. And I think that's really important to say. I think she's been really deceived. I think she's done an evil thing. I wouldn't call her an evil person. I would say she's done a very evil thing. Yeah. And she's been very lost. And unfortunately, throughout her life, she's probably going to suffer because of it. Yeah. And I feel really sorry for her. But I also feel really disturbed and angry about the choices that she made and the choice that she was allowed to make under the law.
Yeah. And I tell you something. If they had used a slightly different process, say, let's sit you down and have a conversation about, hey, what does it really mean that you're mentally distressed or whatever the narrative is that is in your mind? And they say, well, okay, we think if that's the case, did you know that you can do A, B, C, or D? Let's say that, abortion is on the table, but let's call that option F, right? You got to get A through to G
What would we call this? We'd call this informed consent.
Yes. But they skip all of the possibilities and they go straight to the most inhumane one.
It's almost like some feverish love of abortion, in the unconscious.
They've actually managed to swing culture that way now.
They have.
It's actually pathetic to see these people that do this. And I'm not even just talking about the abortionist, right? The person who is knowingly injecting a baby's heart. God bless their soul. Or the demons do. I'm not really sure where they're going to end up. Good for them. But I will say the ones that are effectively controlling and manipulating society into believing so much that they've grasped this ideology, it's interesting to watch that if you even just talking about this, right? Somebody might watch this, and one of these pro-abortionists might watch this, and they might say, "You're demonizing them, and you're making them have all these mental health crises. You're going to make less people want to go in and do it." Well, that's kind of the point, but anyway, because apparently it's not okay to just say truth, because if you just said the truth, they might feel bad about it, and we care so much about people's feelings in our modern postmodernism. And so what is better for us to do is to deceive them into doing these things that are so illogical.
It's only going to harm them.
That's going to harm them later.
I mean, it's just compounded violence. It's only going to harm them. Absolutely. I mean, exactly. I asked her, I was like, well, were you given all of the information? Did you understand the process? Did they offer you anything else? Did they talk about adoption? She goes, no, we didn't really talk about it. I mean, I thought about it for a moment and then I decided I didn't want to have my baby out in the world. Okay. And yeah, no, I mean, this is something.
So I decided that active decision.
Yes, unfortunately,
and so my next
it was
active
quite
decision was I need to end the life.
Yeah, that was the only option, and it's really interesting.
I was thinking about this because the same thing happens with the trans movement, right? Where if you want to talk about how psychopathic some of the behaviors and some of the ideologies are, I mean, you think about it, for example, in Queensland, the Mr. Giggle.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it Tickle? Because I think
Tickle versus Giggle.
Yeah.
I heard Sal gave a talk the other day, actually. She was in Adelaide. That was very interesting.
Right. Oh, man, if you know her and you get to shake her hand, can you say, can you please talk to Emeka?
Okay.
He'd like to talk to you. Because I've done like an entire episode on her.
She was so great. She actually was she was like, this is the most comical thing that I ever could have imagined doing with my life.
Okay, so I was watching a Channel 7 kind of interview with her the other day.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Today Tonight or some current affair, I think it was. And the person who was interviewing her, who I can't remember his name because I don't really care about those guys like that, but at some point said, I have to pull you up there, Sal. Mm. You've now for a number of times called him a him. And no, he called her a him. And well, it's clear that the court of law has just proven that it is a her, not a him. Mm. And she gave him this like most obscene look and went, I'm sorry, I'm not going to lie or deceive anyone. Like he's a man and that makes him a him.
Yeah.
I do not believe in just lying because it makes somebody else. Okay, I'm paraphrasing.
And I'll pull you up there because you keep referencing to Roxy Tickle as he. Yet a judge has found today that Roxy Tickle is a woman.
Yeah, I mean, law is supposed to reflect reality, and in reality, this person is a male. So, I mean, you can make a court believe something, I suppose, but you're not going to make me believe it.
Okay, as he was asking the question, I had whatever the answer was in my head. I was like, I really, really hope this is what you say. Please don't back down. And she said it. And I was just like, I just started applauding.
Oh, brilliant.
I just thought it was the greatest thing. She's definitely a modern day hero.
She is.
It's crazy.
It is.
And they make it, so somebody like her saying him, for example, just that, calling the man with the voice that is heavier than mine.
If people have taken it upon themselves to declare that I am not who I know I am.
If you haven't heard my voice, every time people call me for the first time and hear me on the phone, they refer to me as a her.
Do they?
I know, it's bizarre. I'll tell you a side story, the funniest story. So I actually had my cousin.
I can't hear it. I'm trying to hear now.
No, you can't.
It
It's impossible to hear it after you've seen my face.
Okay.
It's actually a weird psychological thing that happens.
No, okay.
You can't hear it once you've seen my face. Although I will say my uncle called my mum's phone and I answered it and I said, hey, uncle, mum's kind of busy at the moment. Just hang on a second. And he just started a conversation. And he was like, oh, stop playing around. And just kept talking. He thought I was mum. He literally, so my cousin's banker called me to talk to me about something I'm assisting her with. And I picked up the phone and I said, hey, how you doing? It's good to talk to you again. And he's like, sorry, who is this? Now, I've spoken to him before, like twice before. And I said, oh, it's Emeka. And he goes, oh, okay. And I kept talking. And he goes again, no, seriously, sorry, who is this? I said, it's Emeka. We've spoken twice before. And he goes, okay, no worries. I kept talking. And he goes, I'm so sorry. It's just the last time we spoke to your cousin and her cousin, it was a female. You're not a female. I said, it was me. The other 2 times. And I'm a man. Anyway, going back to Tickle, that homie has a heavier voice than me, right? And I don't know how on God's infinitely good earth did a judge, a person who has spent so much time understanding the law, made a decision. I don't care what the convincing speech the psychopathic barrister gave, who I don't know their name, and their name will never be written anywhere because these illiterates who are actually educated but have suddenly become illiterates in our world, go in and defend things like this.
It's insane, isn't it?
To the point where a judge will award a man the absolute right to a female space. Insane.
It
then
is.
You will watch somebody like Sal make the comment that she makes and insist that this is a him and I'm not going to lie. And you will have people say things like, if you look at some of the YouTube comments, you are ostracizing them. You are still doing these very evil, bad things to them. What, by identifying them as truly what they are? Yes.
Yeah.
You are demonizing them, and this is why they have mental health issues. No, actually, they have mental health issues because they already had mental health issues, and that's why they identify as something they're not. Let's not get this twisted. They're doing something that's already insane, and now they want it to be everybody's problem. It used to be if you have an idea that is not coherent, society corrects you and brings you along on the journey. It's somehow become the complete opposite. You have an idea, and it's stupid. Well, we must bow to that or else.
Well, you know, this is really interesting. I'm reading a fantastic book at the moment called The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self by Carl Trueman. So I'll give him credit for what I'm going to tell you now, which is super interesting because there's some understanding to why that's occurred. I mean, it's an interesting question.
Yes.
How come, the statement, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body, is a normal statement? It wasn't for most of human history.
It's still pathetic as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. It's absolutely pathetic and wrong and dangerous. I'm totally against it. But let's understand why it's there because it's really interesting. If we understand why it's got there, maybe we can better work out how to undo the problem.
Yeah.
So interestingly, he says what's happening is how we would characterize our age and our time is we'd call it the psychological man, as opposed to the era before us. Think back to like 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. We would characterize that time as the economic man. What does that mean? It means generally speaking, people found their sense of self and their identity in how they outwardly affected the world through their trade, their business, and their work.
Yes.
People identified themselves through how they worked. So, and even before that, we could look back throughout history, we'd see the age of the time in the Middle Ages was the religious man because he had identified himself with his relationship to religion and the church. And perhaps even before that, if we go back to Plato's time, we might look and see the political man as a man or people who identified themselves through how they related to their social engagements and their public life. But if we come back to today's world, something really interesting has happened. We have actually gone from the economic world, all of these other ones that I've just mentioned are all outwardly focused. It's all my relation to my world around me. Now what's happened is that we've gone psychological man is how we characterize our time. And people are all about inward. It's all about the therapeutic self. It's all about how I feel, and that is now how I identify myself. Like if you ask someone in 70s or 80s, like, are you satisfied with your job? They would say, well, I bring home money, I get an income, I can look after my family, I feed my family. So yes, my job is satisfied. But if you ask someone now, are you satisfied with your job? Their answer would be, well, I'm happy or I'm not happy.
Yes.
So it's about how you feel. So, I mean, this is really quite interesting because if we start understanding that the modern person is identifying themselves in the world via their inward feeling and their expression, is what's then happening is when the world around me is not conforming to my feelings, I must change the world around me to validate my inner experience.
And if the world refuses to change, then the world must be bigoted.
Well, so then what's happening is like that's where we get language as being offensive because it causes psychological harm. Because
social cohesion.
Psychological well-being is now the paramount.
Yeah.
It's the paramount experience.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's the appropriate way to define that. It's now the paramount experience that every person is. Well, not every person. That's terrible. Certainly not every person, because there's still sane people in our world. And I think perhaps, I was actually kind of reading something the other day. I'm really bad at remembering names, unless like you say something that's super credible. Then I remember your name, especially if I'm reading it. Okay, so I was reading something. I don't know who I was reading it from, but it was talking about the feminization of society. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to do an entire episode on that fact where I've plucked out certain point in times to work to kind of isolate and work out how society has morphed over time to becoming this feminine construct, which is why, feelings matter more than anything else. But what's really bizarre to me, the reason that has happened is I think the grand manipulators, and I'll call them that, realized that was potentially a way that they could truly capture society and manipulate them into what they wanted them to be. Because a lot of the languages and a lot of the things around the feminization of the culture on first glance seems harmful. Because, for example, you said before, if you asked somebody how you were feeling, how do you feel about your work? Or do you enjoy what you do?
Yeah. Are you work satisfied,
Yes. They will answer about their feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And then on first instance, when you hear that, it's the psychological safety, even that wording, right? You hear that and you're like, oh, well, that sounds fine, right?
Yeah, sure.
But imagine like when men were predominantly in the workforce and doing what, at what point would any man have thought about psychological safety? And they're like, my boss yelled at me because I didn't do the right thing. Oh my God, I'm harmed. Okay, so I'm not making a case for belittling the idea of females in the workplace. But I am saying that these manipulators kind of saw that and took a hold of it and went, actually, if we use that to really corrupt society, we can get really far, because on first glance, it doesn't seem like it's bad at all. Because
in fact, people predominantly love it.
Yes.
I mean, it's easier. It's comfortable. I mean, it's constantly you're constantly having permission to be validated for your. I mean, the thing is, the inner world is not a trustworthy way to define who you are and the way you relate to the world around you. The inner,
and if you've been alive longer than 5 years. You're like, I don't think I can trust what I feel on any given day.
There is a point to be made with, you should conform yourself to your society rather than, get your society to conform to your inner desires.
100%.
I mean, that sets us up for a really dangerous society if
ever you were to define it.
Yeah. And I mean, this is why we see so much about the LGBT stuff, because in reality, human nature, a lot of the inner desire is sexual in nature.
Yes.
So if the inner desires and the inner world and your feelings are the highest priority, and the human nature is that sexuality is it's a predominant part of the inner world, then that's why we've see the sexualization and sexual identity become so predominant, because it's actually feeling-based identity, and feelings are very close to the sexual nature.
One cannot trust their feelings from day to day, because we all feel a lot of things, sometimes things that are very harmful for us.
Absolutely.
And the idea that a person should be affirmed in a feeling of a feeling that is fleeting. Feelings are always fleeting, and a person that the idea that a person should be affirmed on that is setting society up for failure, because if you affirm that person on that idea, that's not a constant. What happens when it changes tomorrow? Oh, I know what. We'll add another damn letter to it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
LGBTQIA XYZ plus.
No, totally. And I mean, it's only a matter of time before it gets absolutely worse. And this is what happens when you have a world that used to, at least, and for some of us it still does.
Yeah.
It is there's an objective morality. There is something external to us, and our job as human beings is to discover the meaning that is external to us and to conform ourselves to it. I mean, we understand that that's a God-given reality.
Yeah.
But the opposite to that is that there is no meaning. There's just raw material, and it's your job to now create meaning yourself.
Yeah.
In other words, morality is preferential, and that basically means there is no such thing as right and wrong. And if that's what you want to believe, and some people be like, yeah, I'm kind of down with that. It's like, well, go ahead and let's take that to its greatest extent, because what is that actually saying? It's saying, well, the most heinous crimes you can possibly imagine. You, if you're going to subscribe yourself to preferential reality, preferential morality, you now need to confess that those most heinous crimes that you can possibly imagine are not wrong.
Actually are fine, because at the time the person felt like that was appropriate.
Yeah.
And
I mean, can you actually, the thing is, when people actually push it to that extent, their conscience gets pricked and they go, I just can't do it. I just can't say those heinous crimes are actually not wrong. I mean, they're just not preferred. I mean,
we are seeing it now, though, that people are getting to the point where, and this is why it's so important again that we're standing. People are getting to the point where they are suddenly now bold enough to actually be able to say, if you were to push it that far extreme, well, I guess,
well,
like that's what they feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
It's the reason why you ask a person that in the past used to be like, it's murdering, is abortion okay? Not really. Okay, is abortion okay at any point? Yeah. And then it slowly goes to, is abortion okay when the child is like a fully formed baby and the child has a life and is breathing and you can inject into his side? And they're like, like, that's how it goes.
Exactly. Now they've actually got to the point where preferential morality is what they subscribe to, and they're okay with it.
And at the max.
And I mean, it's a very dangerous mentality.
I was talking before about the slippery slope. And it just prompted me then, and I think because when the idea of the question, how do you feel about your work experience, and somebody said I'm happy, I'm not happy, or I'm happy, the feelings based response, and it seems like it's fine, and I was in my mind I was trying to work out why would that not be fine. Well, it's not fine, because what is the purpose of work? The purpose of work isn't so that you can go and be happy.
No.
That's the purpose of work is so that you can have a meaningful engagement in society and contribute to your family and contribute to community. That's the meaning of work. So so when you are asked, how is work, or how do you feel about work? Actually, that's the wrong question. When you're asked
your work satisfaction,
the answer shouldn't be about happiness. A feelings-based response. Is it meeting the basic needs that it was set out to meet? And if you're not enjoying meeting your basic needs in the way you currently are, then change it. Change it to doing something that's more optimal to who you are.
Exactly. And it's interesting because that concept of the psychological man, I mean, it's the, it's the spirit of the time. It's the category, it's the way we could describe this time, but it actually applies to all of us because we've all been born in that, born to it, or we've developed within it. So it's interesting to even ask ourselves that question: where am I prioritizing the therapeutic self, the psychological self, over actually what I can give to the world? I mean, even thought in a personal sense, it's like the way that you, when I was younger, I really cared about dressing super expressively. And well, that's because I was trying to be performative of my inner world. I was trying to express myself. But what happened to actually I'm trying to dress to conform to my society, and that's actually a good thing? So I just think those little things are interesting ways of thinking about that.
It's a wonderful thing, though, to understand that some of the basic principles of humanity is that there is far more satisfaction in doing things that has an external expression that builds upon the world that you've been placed in than one that fulfills an inner desire. Now, you feel, generally speaking, most people should feel better when they do something for another. That's kind of how we were created to be. We feel more fulfilled. There is far more fulfillment in being able to support, care for another. You see, this is the basic problem with even our political space at the moment. and it's not about them serving. The idea that when I take that seat, that people have come together in great numbers and decided that I will be bestowed upon that authority to govern. It is to serve them, not to sit like a king on a platform and while they carry you with the weight that I put on them.
Absolutely.
It's to serve them. That's the real definition of what a leader is.
Yeah. No, exactly right. It's a servant to the people.
So that's changed, and there's no and this is why that idea of the feelings-based society it responses so well to the current climate of our political sphere, because they all are based on what pleases them.
Yeah.
The way they rule and lead at the moment only works if society is the way it has become now, when it's about me, which is why they can make absolutely selfish decisions that will cost Australians for years to come.
Yeah.
And they don't give a flying toss about it. Because it's about them in the now.
It totally is. This is something I've started doing this work as of late, and I've really realised how utterly disappointing politicians are. I'm like, what? What's going on? I mean, I went into my first parliamentary debate recently just to watch, because it was the bill I was just talking about. Yeah. And I was shocked.
Like, it's not a real
these
debate,
guys,
is it?
like, what? It's not a real debate. Absolutely not. Like, everyone's made up their minds beforehand.
Yep.
Everyone's done dirty deals beforehand.
Correct.
And two, like, everyone's so dispassionate. I'm like, come on, this is your opportunity to persuade your, fellow, politicians.
It's a show.
But you're just reading out. I'm like, these people do they care? How did they get voted in? And it's quite remarkable to see even pro-life politicians did not vote for our bill. People who profess to be pro-life get the pro-life vote from the people. Oh, she's pro-life, I'll vote for her. And what happens? Well, actually, when it comes to crunch time, let's see if we can save just the late-term healthy babies. Yeah. They won't even
Deals
vote
are made
with that.
behind closed doors.
And they
come out and they do what's good for them. Or
they've got their personal vendettas. They don't like certain people, so they go. It's just like,
and since when
do you guys stand for anything?
And again, personal vendettas. Personal.
Yeah.
It's about me.
Yeah.
And can I just say, and saying this to the camera, looking directly at all of the morons that sat in Parliament and voted down that bill, you are all a bunch of morons. You are psychopathic idiots. You are not deserving of that seat. And far more than anything, you're a disgusting human being. Because you were given a position for a reason. You did not. You may have earned it by lying a whole bunch to people, but however you got there, you got there. Now that you are there, you choose to use your position of power for the evil that you do. You will get what is coming to you. Not because I'm threatening you or I'm ever going to do anything to you, but because there is such a thing that is called a God. And if the creator of the universe is real and truly does exist, then you will serve the punishment that is fitting to you. Unless you change and repent. And you do it now because you're on out of time.
Well, that's it.
I don't know. I felt I needed to say that. And
I appreciate that. I think you should
I
say
hope
that.
they hear it.
I hope they hear it.
And I hope
Are
something
they going to listen
changes.
to you? I don't know, but I hope so.
It's okay. I will. Eventually, I'll make them.
Look, it was 8-11. That was the vote. 11 people voted.
A push to change South Australia's abortion laws has been voted down in state parliament. The bill would have placed limits on abortion after 23 weeks so that the mental health of the mother would not be accepted as a valid reason to have one. Angry protesters gathered outside before the bill was shot down in a late-night session, 11 votes to 8.
A law. So, by the way, I should tell you what the law, in case you don't actually know, or anyone who's listening, the laws pretty much across the board everywhere in Australia, but I'll speak to South Australia. It is abortion up to birth for 3 reasons: to save a woman's life, of which, by the way, it doesn't ever happen. Even the data reflects that, because if a woman is literally going into an emergency, you get the baby out via a C-section and you give life-saving care to both.
Yes.
As it should be, to both lives, because both lives matter. So that's a myth. It doesn't actually happen to save a woman's life, not late-term abortion. The second reason, as we've said, is the physical or mental risk to the mother. Yeah. And the third reason is because of a fetal anomaly, which could be an extra pinky finger or a cleft lip or something more severe.
Is that not ableist? I think Dr. Joanna
you know
asked
what?
that question.
It is ableist. It's totally ableist. We have
what happened to the don't be ableist?
Well, it's eugenics. It's eugenics. And I mean, there's also...
That's why it's incoherent, because it only works when it suits them.
Yeah. And we have evidence of sex-selective abortion as well. So people are having abortions for any reason. And the law is specifically written in a very clever way to actually allow that. And I mean, the reality is they say, okay, you need 2 doctors' approval for this. Well, let's see, how does that actually play out? You go to the doctor who, by the way, is pro-abortion. They're there doing that job because they like abortion. So they're not going to turn you down.
Imagine that.
They're not going to say, oh, actually, I don't think you should. No, their whole plan, the whole reason why they're there is that they want to see people getting abortion. They're not going to, that's...
So then go to that person and he'll tell you whether you can or not.
It's not really a very good filter system to have a major pro-abortion abortionist be the one who says, oh no, I don't, I'll turn you away because you don't meet my super duper loose criteria, because mental health literally can mean anything, especially in today's climate, like we've talked about.
Yep. Conflict of interest at its max. But no, it's not.
But the second doctor doesn't even need to see you.
Huh.
What happens? They just get a case report. They read it. They sign it.
Yeah.
But again, once they're there for the same reason, they're pro-abortion. They want to see more abortions done. So these 2-doctor rule.
Yeah.
Where people say, "Oh, but I'm not a doctor. The doctors choose. We can trust the doctors, can we? Let's look historically how that's gone. we can't. These are just people who have their own agendas and their own ideologies, and they're not a good filter system.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking just before about. It only works, some of these narratives only works when it works for them in their specific instance that they want to use it for. That's why it's so incoherent, because if it was a matter of you can trust the doctor, Dr. Joanna, she keeps saying...
Well, I mean, she's a professor of law, but I mean, she can speak to the law of it.
Sure. I mean, they say you can trust the doctor. What about the doctor's doctor?
What about Dr. Melissa?
Dr. Gillian Spencer?
There's plenty of doctors who are pro-life and will say, this is not health. And what do? They discredit the adherents. Can't listen to them.
Yeah.
In fact, let's try and take their license away. Let's censor them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the message here, guys? Can we trust the doctors or can we not? Is it just the doctors that love abortion? Is
only
that the
when
ones?
It fits with the narrative.
Yeah.
Only when it fits. And you saw the same thing all through COVID as well.
I mean, so the law is written in a really clever way to make sure that if you want an abortion at any stage, you can get one.
Okay, so I want to come to slightly delve into the personal, and feel free to go as far into this.
Let's do it.
Not as far as you see fit. What had you, Elsie? It's Elsie, right?
Yeah.
I read it the other day. I was like, is it Elise or Elsie? I really struggle with this.
Take my notes.
What made you? What placed you in this space? What's your journey in life looked like that led you up into this space that you were like, this is something I will stand for? And by the way, I see the passion in which you do it. I mean, even the experience of, I think it was some political figurehead.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's all they are. Who actively pushed you over.
There was tension on North Terrace before the rally even started.
This woman was harassing, that's how she fell over.
These are just about healthy babies, right?
Because
is that what we're talking
about medical processes when you listen to my speech.
So it's the medical and process involves the ending.
To some of your bullshit.
Do they?
And you pretend that you know about medical issues and what pregnant people are going through, but you actually talk a lot of rot. And
okay, what is some of that rot?
You talk to some real doctors.
What is some of that rot? Fuck!
You okay? Have some decorum.
Yeah, sorry, I stepped backwards accidentally.
Because she was harassing me. Let's just give some people this space, all right?
No, Tammy, you're a member of Parliament. I have the right to ask you a question.
This was really interesting going to that.
And then
pro-choice rally.
Managed to say, well, she was.
No, and then she literally in front of her whole crowd. So, by the way, here's the brief of the story.
Yeah.
I went to the pro-choice rally. These group of people that were trying to counter our bill, saying, no, we really want abortion up to birth for any reason. Okay, all right. So they gather as a crowd. They have their rally. I actually talked to the organizer. I said, by the way, I'm coming to film because I'm being a journalist. That's my job now. I'm a journalist. basically.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to record and ask some really simple questions.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to be on my best behavior, as I always am, but I'm going to be careful because I know these people really hate me.
Yeah.
These people send violent messages to me often.
Crazy.
They send death threats.
Yeah.
They send.
Yet they say we are the social.
I get messages, things like, if I ever see you on the street, I look forward to bashing your head into the concrete or something like that.
Wow.
So these are the people, right? I get those messages. So I know that there's a level of risk going to be in amongst the crowd, but I trust civility to some extent. So I go to this event and I have a cameraman and me and I just try and ask questions. They will not let us talk. They censored their own people. They had a team of marshals who were prepared for me. They wore high-vis and they actually physically blocked me in every direction that I tried to turn and walk.
Crazy.
They stalked me for the whole
in
time.
An allegedly free country.
Well, I mean, it was like aggressive behavior. Like it was like weird and aggressive.
Whoa, dude, that was just so loud. Leave me alone, leave me alone. Sort your own people out, please.
The camera doesn't do justice how disgusting you are in real life.
Let her talk, let her talk. She has a right to speak. Please leave me alone. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
It isn't a good look.
They had a team dedicated to physically blocking me.
Yeah.
So that when I messaged the organizer after, I said, can't believe that you actually, he's like, look, we did organize a team to physically block him. I'm like, so you just admitted it? Anyway, one of them actually pushed me over to the ground in the middle of me trying to speak to one of our politicians whom I should have a right to speak to.
Yeah.
And I was having conversation with her. She had not said, no, I don't want to talk. She was talking.
Yeah.
And I got pushed over by one of the marshals. But then throughout the whole event, it was just aggressive behaviour. There were people blocking the sides, people trying to get in front of the camera, telling their own people not to talk to me, not to have conversation. And at one point, I went into the centre of the crowd. Well, there was about 200 people there. There was a big sort of open space in the middle, and one of our politicians was speaking, and she saw me and she goes, oh, you know what? This bill's not going to get through, guys. You know why? Because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed in Parliament. But do you know what has changed? You know what has changed? And she saw me and she pointed to me. She goes, this has changed. People like this. She called me a little woman. She goes, this little woman and her camera. That's what's changed.
Wow.
But what has changed is this little woman here with the camera and her minions and her colleagues who are out to get as many clicks as they can and get people to subscribe.
That's literally about me, guys.
They want followers. They want clout.
Crazy.
And she goes, it's like, shame on you. And the whole crowd points to me and goes, shame, shame, and like yells.
What a coward.
And I was like, whoa.
What a coward
like,
of a human being
did
she
you,
was.
this politician, just like single out one little woman, supposedly,
can I also
supposedly the little woman you're trying to protect.
Can I also point out if it is the person that I saw on the camera?
Yeah, it is.
I have to say, I do.
Don't say it.
I do have to say, I'm
Don't say
super politically incorrect. You are really overweight, and you really, you know how you called her little? That's what healthy looks like. You should probably, I don't know, see a doctor, get yourself checked. Obesity is a problem.
It's heavy stuff, you know, what she's dealing with. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah, heavy stuff.
So, I mean, it's ironic, but it's funny because she's supposed to be pro-woman, right? I'm a single mom. Like, I'm literally the category that she's supposed to be defending relentlessly. And instead, she's inciting violence and aggression towards one woman in a crowd of 200 who all hate her. That's dangerous.
Forgetting her in reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like... It's super strange behavior.
Yeah.
And also, you know what? I was so on it. I was like, damn right. What's changed? That's right. This little woman and her camera. Now you're threatened by that. You wouldn't call me out if you weren't threatened. So damn, dude, I'm doing a good job. That's what I thought.
You were threatened. And even your heaviness was not heavy enough to persuade her or dissuade her.
I would say, Tammy, you don't need to be threatened, but your ideology does.
Yeah, sucks. Really, really sucks. But God help your soul, because I really thrive on being politically incorrect, although I'm sure that they're going to say, if you want to get far in this space, you've got to be more.
Look, you're probably right. Like getting far in this space probably is actually just be as politically incorrect as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. That hasn't worked for any one of them that has tried going about it that way. So I'm not doing it.
Let's do the opposite.
Let that be that.
So I'll tell you a bit more about like how I got to this. So that was a fun little detour. But I liked it. So I'm a single mum. So I became a single mum 6 years ago. My son is 6. Yeah. So it was a tricky time because I was young. I was like 24, but I was like a young 24-year-old. I really did not have my life together, and I was living in Sydney. I was studying classical painting. I kind of ended up leading a bit of a destructive lifestyle. Look, I guess here we go. Here's a little bit of vulnerability to the story. I'm going to tell it tomorrow in my talk at the conference. But I was reliant upon drugs. I was working in a strip club. I had a really abusive relationship that I was in. Okay. And ultimately that led to me getting pregnant, skipping some details. But I ultimately was pregnant with a man who had been really abusive to me. Yeah. So it was complex. And it started off on a pretty bad foot. To be honest, I was one of those women who everyone would say was a prime candidate for an abortion. I even was homeless for a patch during that time because I got kicked out of my share house. I was mentally I guess I was so unstable. I was so shocked and traumatized by everything that had happened. But you know what? The thing is, having my baby, giving birth, this amazing experience of giving birth where I was so connected to my body and there was so much power going through my body. It's like where the trauma was, it was getting rewritten. Yeah. So people say, oh, birth is going to be traumatic to the already traumatized woman. Yeah. She can't go through birth because it's going to be traumatizing. It's like, let me speak to that reality. Yeah. Let me speak to that. No. Actually, it was the beginning of my healing. Healing is a journey, but it began the moment that I gave birth. There was a power that went through my body. Yeah. There was trauma that was physically rewritten. I mean, those contractions are huge electrical surges that go through your body. Yeah. So something is getting rewired through that. It's an opportunity. I know it's not for everyone because things do go wrong, but it is an opportunity for healing, and for me it was. Yeah. And motherhood then went on to be like harder than I ever could have imagined it would be. And at points, I really did feel like maybe I was visiting the underworld or something because it was so heinous at times. And I reached the end of myself time and time again. Yeah. And I would always find out that there was in fact more. And through this journey of love and of hardship and of meaning and purpose, my life was no longer meaningless. I had a profound purpose and an instinctual one. My instincts began to kick on. As I became a mother. I went from the distressed maiden to the mother who was growing in wisdom and strength all the time. Yeah. And so it was a journey, and there was ups and downs all throughout it so far. I mean, I'm only 6 years in, right? But like through that was a journey of healing. Now I've got to a point where I do have stability. I do have mental stability. I've got my head on my shoulders. I've got my sanity. I've managed to heal and integrate a lot of those traumatic and horrific things that did happen. Yeah. And in fact, they even in a way have strengthened me and given me insights that I otherwise never would have had. Yeah. And here's the reality. Now I live with so much hope and meaning because I have this amazing relationship with my beautiful little boy. Yeah. And so anyway, all that to say that my life has actually got so much better becoming a mother, even though it was really hard. Yeah. And what that exposed me to is that the main narrative that, motherhood is going to be bad for the already traumatized woman and an abortion is the best solution. That's the lie we hear, right? Yeah. For a woman like me, an abortion is the best solution. Yeah. That is a lie, and I know it so deeply in my soul that it is a lie.
Truth.
I know it's a lie.
Truth. It's actually the truth.
It's the truth, and I know it with such a deep conviction because I lived it every day for the last 6.5 years. So I know it, and I think knowing it with that level of conviction has inspired me to speak it out unrelentingly. Yeah, and the other part of this is that as I moved into this level of conviction, I was also being exposed to Dr. Joanna Howe is actually a really dear friend of mine. I've known her for quite a while, and I started listening to what she was talking about. She's exposing the realities of what's the law changed in 2021. So this is when that conversation really began, and I was like, this is so dark and evil. we need to do something about it. And something spurred in my spirit where I felt like this was a calling to speak against this and to speak with the experience that I have, because it's horrific what's happening to the babies, but equally also it's horrific what's happening to the women.
Yeah. You do it with such passion and conviction, and that is very much there. Undoubtedly, you have such a conviction about it, and the reason I even pulled up the idea of the conversation that you what happened, the events that occurred when you were run over by a certain politician. But I see that conviction and that passion, and I think, and my hope out of this conversation that we've had today is that, and I'm sure we could carry on for hours if we wanted to, but out of this conversation, my hope is that there is even if it was one woman out there that listened to this, whether it's in the clip form or as the long form, if there was just one woman that heard you and thought, you know what, I'm not going to go through with that, and I don't have to listen to the narrative of the day, and I don't have to play the game that this deceitful postmodernism is playing with my mind and my head. I can truly stand strong, stand tall, and know that I can see a brighter day from your story. Then I certainly hope and pray that be the case. And I look forward to seeing as well, like what you and Dr. Joanna and your cohort, that group.
Bird Flip. That's our group.
I keep
Bird
calling
Flip.
it Flip Bird.
You know, I mean,
it's
look.
Bird Flip.
Yeah, Bird Flip.
I just thought what you guys were doing, we're flipping the bird to all of the
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's a bit of a funny name, but like we're flipping the bird to the abortion industry. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this the pretty quiet way. No, we're going to say it how it is. Yes, it's uncomfortable.
100%.
We're going to be like up in your face about it. And I mean, just really quickly, like I just want to say just to really put this in perspective.
Yes.
We're going to use the word genocide here because it is a genocide.
Genocide.
It is a genocide. It is a targeted dehumanization of a particular group of human beings to the extent of violent death. That is a genocide. Now, what extent are we speaking about? It is the leading cause of death in the world. Do you know what the numbers are? It's 45 million unborn babies a year that are slaughtered. 45 million unborn babies in a year. And you know, that takes up to 42% of all deaths. All the other deaths that occur in a year is 62 million. 45, sorry.
45
is
in comparison to all the other different kinds of possibilities or things that causes those deaths.
Cancer, you know, various diseases, car accidents, whatever. Collect all of them up and they make up to 62 million, but unborn babies are 45. Like, that is a level that is unimaginable. And so that's according to 2024, the Worldometer, which is a global statistics collection, for reference.
Yeah.
And so that's the level that we're speaking about here.
And maybe I should land the plane with this, right? Because what's been failed to realize as part of this narrative that has been created that allows people to become so satisfied with the idea of murdering an unborn child at the mass volume for just about any reason on God's good earth that they want to, is people are forgetting and the unrealization of the fact that it's largely A, happening in the West and the West alone, B, because it is happening in the West and the West alone for the most part, they are the West is being underbred. There are not enough people being born in the West society.
Well, this is true.
Now, I did watch. There was a random video that popped up of a guy who was a Muslim. He was being asked the question, something about why have you come here to take over our place? And he said, look, I don't need to try to take over your place. We just need to wait for you guys to breed yourself out. Because you guys are not giving birth enough, and we're giving birth at something like 10 times the rate that you are.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wait. We move here, and then we just breed like crazy, and we just wait for you guys to breed yourself out because you're doing such insane things. And that is one of the realities that the West is creating for itself without realizing how how strange that concept is, that a society will knowingly extinct itself. And then you stack that with all of the different other crazy narratives going on around DEI, and you realize that there's got to be a manipulation around this. Okay, there is so much evil in our world, but I am infinitely grateful that you and I and more like us
And that's
exist.
all it takes. It's actually all it takes. Look back historically at the people that we, call our heroes.
Yeah.
They are ordinary people who decided, I will do something. And with my
Absolutely.
something, God willing, it can multiply and it can
Yes.
it can actually have an impact.
And something is all we have to do. Elsie, it's been wonderful having you on the show. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
I
coming.
had a great time. I had
Have
a great
fun
chat.
at your talk tomorrow.
And
which
you
should be
too.
Good. Oh yes, I'm doing this. Oh my God, we're talking 2 different places.
Right?
Different kind of causes, but largely the same goal, the same intent, and the same heart, and united with one voice.
Like you said at the beginning, it's unity with truth.
Yeah, unity with truth, indeed. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I always do a handshake thing. Good to have you.
Thanks so much.
All right, I'll see you guys on the next show, on the next episode. I hope you watch it, share it around. Make sure you tag that. What is it? Member?
Bird flip? Is that what you want?
Oh yeah, we can tag those, of course.
Tag the member.
Yeah, the member.
Tammy Franks.
Tammy Franks. Go see your doctor. That's my greatest advice for you on this show.
What's good advice?
Yeah. Peace out.